Good evening, welcome, thank you for coming out, everybody. I'm calling to order the regular meeting of the Highland Park Plan and Design Commission for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. It is 7:01 p.m. by my clock. Director Fontaine, would you please call the roll?
Absolutely. Commissioner Incheck.
Here.
Commissioner Fettner.
Here.
Commissioner Henry.
Here.
Commissioner Mantis.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
Vice Chair Nanis.
Here.
Chair Kirsch.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recognize City Council Liaison Alternate Annette Lidower this evening, as well as Corporation Counsel Marcus Martinez. And we do have a new student rep here this evening with us, Chloe Pilot. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome, Chloe. Good to see you again. Okay, first item on the agenda, as usual, is the approval of minutes from our regular meeting on January 20th. Do I have a motion to approve said minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion. Okay, motion and second. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
And one abstention from Commissioner Henry. Moving on to our scheduled business agenda. First item on the agenda tonight is DES 2026-00085 for design review and sign package with variations at 172 to 178 Skokie Valley Road. We have staff presenting tonight.
Yes. Thank you, Carl.
And is this a material sample for this one?
Yes.
I'll pass this around. I'll just pass this around. This is a material sample.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Commission. My name is Anthony Mistretta. I am a planner with the Community Development Department, here to present the design review for and a new sign package for 172 to 178 Skokie Valley Road. The existing property currently does not have a sign package. They are entitled to, and they are required to submit for one. There are currently 3 tenants there. There are no plans for any of the tenants to currently leave. And the existing signage that is there today is internally illuminated box signage. This is an overview of the existing property. And the proposal is a 2-foot by 10-foot, 20 square foot in total sign area, externally illuminated wall sign. That will be on an existing brick facade, which you will see in the contextual photos later. There are existing gooseneck lights on that brick facade, so the applicant's intention is to continue to use those as a form of illumination for the signage. There are then two by 10, 20 square foot in total sign area, internally illuminated wall signs, one for each remaining tenant. There technically are 4 tenant spaces there, but 174 and 176 Skokie Valley Road are occupied by 1 tenant. And there will be window signage also as part of the sign package. They'll just be 6 square foot, 2 by 3, non-illuminated informational window signage to be located on the doorway of each tenant. This is the rendering of the sign package. You can see the brick facade on the far left in the bottom image there, and the top image as well. And then the bottom image does come with the sample that you have in front of you. It is the James Hardy siding that they are adding to this. It is worth noting that the applicant also owns the property directly to the north, 186 through 194 Skokie Valley Road, which did come before the Plan and Design Commission in September of last year for a sign package. The idea is that they will mirror the facade improvements that were done at that property, in addition to the signage style for the signs that are being put on the siding will be the same as well. So the proposed changes, there is a sign package to allow 6 total signs, 3 wall signs and 3 window signs. All signs will include identification and information for the tenants. Note that 2 wall signs are internally illuminated. Those will be the ones that are fixated on the facade. And then the one that is fixated on the existing brick facade will be externally illuminated. The total sign area for this is going to be 78 square foot for 6 total signs. The wall sign total will be 60 square feet, and the window sign total will be 18 square foot. Just for reference, the allotted limit in the B3 is either 15% of the total horizontal area of the facade or 125 square foot. So just to kind of compare, that's where they're at compared to that.
Right, can I go back to that slide? I want to make one note on that. So yeah, so that was for the wall signage total. For windows signs, I checked and the limit on that is 6 feet per tenant. And so 6 times 3 is 18. So it also would meet that. Sorry, go ahead. Sure.
As stated before, as part of this proposal is going to be to do facade improvements with the sample that was given to you as the material. And as stated prior to this, they do own the property directly to the north, and they will mirror the improvements that were made on that property for this property. The increase in total height of the principal structure will be 1 foot 3 inches. So it will go from 12 feet to 13 feet. 13.3 feet for the total height of the principal structure. This is an image of the existing structure. You can see the brick facade on the left, and on the right is the signage there. You can see the internally illuminated box signs, and then these are renderings provided by the applicant of the new look. The signs will be on that siding that's being installed, and these are from the same view, just one is this and one's the rendering. So that is the image from there. These are the standards for the sign code patch or sign packages. I won't go too into detail with these, but these are this is the code to reference, and then the approval process and recommendation. Staff recommend that the PDC open this proposal up for discussion, deliberate on elements, and application if it's appropriate. And the PDC does have authority over design review in the sign package. And you can discuss, are there any questions for staff?
And I have one comment on that. If the commission does adopt the certificate of approval, which was in the packet, it's in draft form, it's not a recommendation by staff, but if the commission does adopt that, there was one condition in there that the staff just notate the site plan that illumination shall comply with section 150.2007. Signs can be internally illuminated in this zoning district, the B3, provided that only the lettering or logo or both on the sign is internally illuminated. Thanks.
Questions for staff? Can you just enumerate the variations that exist here? I didn't quite catch them.
Can I respond? There aren't necessarily variations per se. It's a sign package is a request for just signage as they want or desire. And it's just up to the commission to determine if that's appropriate based on the standards. You could go to the standards slide. However, what staff tries to provide the commission is we try to provide comparison. What would normally be allowed if this was just a tenant by tenant basis? And our review of that was that each window sign would be allowed to be up to 6 square feet, and that's what they're proposing. And then total wall signage would be, is it 125 square feet?
Yes, for the
And,
B3.
right, it maxes out at that, and they were below that. I think they were approximately half that. And then in terms of height, they comply with height. This is a one-story building. They're just go up to the top of the proposed panel. And they're not requesting any illumination variances. That's why staff wanted that notated on the site plan, that the lighting, though it may be internally illuminated, has to be specific to that section of code.
I guess I was just more curious about the form of the motion, whether, if there's no variations, we should leave that out of the motion.
It would be appropriate to just approve the sign package, approve the design review, since you have final decision-making authority over those.
We're approving the certificate of, or adopting the certificate of approval.
Forgive me, actually. I forgot one thing. Sorry. There would technically be one variance And so window signage is allowed, but you can't have two identification signages. And the sign package here proposes identification signage on both. In reality, what the code would allow, the window signage would be, for hours of operation, information of that type. Forgive me, sorry, I almost slipped my mind.
Okay, well then, takes care of that. Does the petitioner wish to speak?
Hi there, Mitch Goltz, JTZ Properties. Nice presentation. Just add a little bit of color here. We office immediately north of this. We bought 210 Skokie Valley last year. We renovated that. We bought this building, the building that we were before you in September from the same owner. We're going through some big renovations. All the space are leased, so this is just kind of a second phase of it. We are relocating NS Barbers from 41 over here. My family, who owns Artist Frame Service, is moving from Crossroads into the one vacant space, and Enterprise Rent a Car is relocating here. So we're excited. This is going to look a heck of a lot better than it's looked. So demolition's already underway for the building behind this that was the former massage parlor. This is one of the last steps, but we're very excited. So happy to answer any questions. But
Any questions for the petitioner?
Not really for the petitioner, more just a general question. Given that there's 4 tenant spaces potentially, would it be prudent to approve this with a 4th sign so they don't have to come back in whenever if they have a 4th tenant?
to be clear, there was 4 spaces. There'll only be 3. Highland Park Veterinary Clinic, who's one of our tenants, they have 2 spaces, so.
There's no plans?
No, originally it was 4 spaces. They are an existing tenant along with Unique Builders. They're not leaving, they're staying. So we're gonna give the facade treatment on the whole building, but both buildings will be 3 tenants.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Just trying to keep you from coming
Yeah,
back.
no, thank you. Well, I'm happy to come back. It's not inconvenient, but there'll not be 4 anytime soon, so.
Any members of the public who would like to speak on this topic? Seeing none, I'd be looking for a motion in regard to this.
So I would move, was there a question?
No.
I would move that we would adopt the certificate of approval. Did you say there was a condition, Carl?
Yep, and that's in the COA, so there
That's-
doesn't
okay.
have to be any type of amendment or
Okay.
anything. It's in the certificate of appropriateness is drafted.
Okay, so I would move that we adopt the certificate of approval as listed.
Do I hear? Second, moved by Commissioner Moore, second by Commissioner Mantis. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call vote? Yes.
Commissioner Incheck.
Aye.
Commissioner Fettner.
Aye.
Commissioner Henry.
Aye.
Commissioner Mantis. Aye. Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Vice Chair Nanis.
Aye.
Chair Kirsch.
Aye.
The ayes have it. The motion carries and this item is approved. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And thank you for sprucing up that corridor.
Do you have the sample up there? We were trying to bring back Radio Shack, but they weren't.
Keep trying, keep trying.
Back in the.
More than the massage party.
That was actually
Oh, is that right?
Radio Shack.
Okay, moving on, our next item on the agenda is DES 2026-00086
Yeah, you're right.
for design review and sign package with variations at 1849 Green Bay Road. Right back to you.
Hello again. I am here, again, for the record, Anthony Mistretta, planner with the Community Development Department, here to now present design review and a sign package amendment for 1849 Green Bay Road. It's Renaissance Place. Existing property, the applicant owns a property that is a tenant space in Renaissance Place with an address of 1849 Green Bay Road. Renaissance Place does have a current sign package that was approved as part of their PUD from 1998. The applicant has applied for a sign permit already and is currently on hold awaiting this decision from the Plan and Design Commission. As part of their proposal, they did trigger design review per Chapter 176. The applicant will be occupying an additional tenant space. They are tearing down a wall and expanding the tenant space that was there into that one. And that is Unit 112. And the tenant space currently has 2 existing awnings and has 2 pedestrian frontages. So that's along the arcade there with the parking lot and then the alleyway that goes through. This is an overview. The red square is roughly where the tenant space is. It's kind of hard from the aerial to pinpoint exactly where it's located, but the square is where they are. Oh, sorry, Carl. read.
Oh, you're good, I was just roughly there. Frontage, they have pedestrian frontage along the north there, then the west facade here faces the parking lot in Green Bay.
So the existing sign package from the 1998 PUD allows, because they have 2 pedestrian frontages, they are allowed 2 identification wall signs or 2 identification signs, one for each of the pedestrian frontages. These were the standards set forth for that signage. They have to be pin set letters, must only show the company tenant name, non-internally illuminated signage only, and the letters must be between 10 inches and 20 inches high. There's no limit for the, there's no set limit in there for the length, but they did mention about the height of the letters. The tenants may have awning signage in lieu of wall signage, but not both simultaneously. So they can, the sign package does not allow for awning and wall signage, only one form of identification signage. This is a little hard to read, apologies for that, but this is the breakdown of what they are doing. There are two signage, externally illuminated wall signs with the existing gooseneck lights. There are 2 awning graphic signs. There is one additional awning graphic sign on the north frontage, and then 1 awning graphic sign over on the western frontage as well. This is all laid out in the packet too. Apologies for the small text there. In total, the wall sign total area is 63.2 square foot for the 2 signs. And then for the sign, the awning sign total area is 178.4 square foot. Now, this does include quite a bit of empty black space.
Yeah, put a check in that square footage for the awning sign, because we're gonna come back to that.
Sure. So yeah, that includes all the awning graphic signs as well as everything that we added before. For the wall sign, again, this is just the total area allowed, kind of more detailed. These are the codes that sort of apply to awning and wall signs. In particular, for the awning signage, for comparison, the signs displayed on awnings shall not exceed 15% of the awning surface area. Excluding side, signs may occupy 25% of an awning surface area, excluding side, provided that 10% of the area is occupied by a design or graphic that is not otherwise classified as an identification sign. So, yeah, anytime they have like a logo or something like that with no form of identification in it, that would be where that would apply. Again, we're gonna come back to the awning sign total area, but the wall sign total area is going to be 63.2 square foot. These are the proposed awnings. As mentioned earlier, they have 2 existing awnings there. They are the recovery awnings with the little lip on them. And then they will be proposing to add 2 additional ones, a 14-foot by 3.6-foot awning, and then a 25.3-foot awning with, or by 3.6 awning with black fabric. These awnings will be built to match the ones that are currently there. This is a photo of the proposal. And this is, you want?
Yeah, so can I comment?
Yeah.
Okay, so the proposal for the sign, so this is the north facade of their tenant space facing the pedestrian area there. The city actually owns that little strip, that pedestrian area there. And so this is the wall sign, we've already talked about that. And so this awning is there, and then they propose 2 new awnings, and then they propose signage for all the awnings. I'm gonna skip this and come back to that. Oh wait, where's the other one? That's okay. So staff, so we had a report and we presented calculations and we were thinking about it, looking back at the code, looking back at the 1998 sign package. And so actually, the way to think about this, what actually makes the most sense, and this part, how we have these numbers here, this was not in the staff report. We just reviewed this yesterday and today. So the way to review this is actually, these are all actually separate signs. So you have one sign here for this wall sign, and the dimensions for that was in the report. And then for the awnings, the way to look at it is these are all each separate signs. So you have essentially the logo that's in the canvas area, and then you have the text sign that's on the bottom on that drop-down portion, which I forget that's called, is it the valence?
Yep.
And so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10, and 11. And so this is the western facade that faces the parking lot and Green Bay. And so the main takeaway from this is, so the wall signage numbers that we presented, those were in the report. Each one is slightly more than 30 square feet. They comply with the sign package area limit. There actually is no area limit in the sign package. You just have to have letters that are between 10 to 20 inches in height, and they chose 15 inches. So that complies. The sign package limits, though, only one identification sign per pedestrian facade. And of course, the applicant is proposing the new awnings and then the signs on all the awnings. And in the staff report, we had worked with the applicant and there were boxes around the entire awning. And in thinking about it today and yesterday, actually, they should be considered separate.
For reference, that's the boxes.
Separate signs. And so we would just need the dimensions for that to finalize what those calculations are. And then, well, Anthony can probably take over, but Anthony provided area photos to just contrast and compare with what's at Renaissance Place.
So this is the existing awning that's facing the north pedestrian frontage. And then you can see that is the existing awning that's currently there facing Green Bay Road. Obviously, there's no signage on them yet because the tenant is empty, but those are just a existing photo of the awnings and the awnings that they will be planning to match. In addition, there are some photographs from the local businesses surrounding. This is Local Leaf Farm, which is right across that north pedestrian parking way. They also have a wall sign with awnings. There's no signage on those awnings. They're also a different style of awning as well. And then if you look over here, this is Danucci's. They went through city council. They were approved by city council for a special license. They had all sorts of approvals there, but they do not have signage on their awnings as well. So this is sort of the first instance in Renaissance Place where an applicant is proposing to have signage on the awnings as well as the wall signage. So just to kind of show the area surrounding there. Again, this is kind of all the way around Danucci's. The one on the left is the front that's right on 2nd Street. And then, the one on the right is the frontage facing 2nd Street. And then the photo on the left is the frontage that's on that pedestrian walkway. These are the standards for sign packages. As stated before, I won't go too deep into these. And then the approval process, again, PDC does have authority over this. The PDC can discuss the proposal per the design review and sign package standards. We do have a recommendation that obviously as Senior Planner Burhop mentioned before, we do recommend that the applicant amend attachment 2 of the packet, which is the renderings, to show the dimensions of the individual signage elements on the awnings. It should say on the awnings. As opposed to a box around all the signage.
Yeah, and so just to comment on that, and of course, this is not a recommendation by staff. The commission can approve or continue or what have you, but if the commission, should the commission consider any type of approval, just from a staff perspective, in terms of the dimensions, we would recommend that any type of approval be premised on the fact that there are 11 signs, and then that the dimensions are essentially the red boxes here. Obviously, my red boxes are not drawn to scale, but it's meant to represent what would be the smallest box that encompasses those sign elements as they're numbered.
And that is what the code requires in terms of the measurement for a sign. Okay, so instead of taking it as a whole with multiple elements, we're saying take each of these signs themselves. This provides greater control. If you approve a large box, other content can be put in that box without permission because we don't regulate content. So it's very important to get the box sizes right. So if you like what you see here in terms of the dimensions and the proportionality, that gives you the best control to do that. And that's what is recommended.
Questions for staff? Commissioner?
I have a question about what's considered identification signage. Is it only the store name or does it include the logo or the image that's in the middle of that awning as well?
Well, it's hard to see, but the logo actually does say Twinkle Twinkle Little One on the awning.
Okay.
It does actually say that, but yes, generally store name or any form of identification, if it's a universal symbol. Logo,
Okay,
yeah.
so it would basically
yeah.
be 3
Yeah.
identification signs for this frontage.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
Go back to the standards, Carl.
I just have to find them here, one moment.
Yeah, I'm troubled by A. It talks about unified and consistent throughout the building or property. And what I'm seeing here, not that I'm necessarily objector or anything, but it seems to be a whole hodgepodge of different signage in this arena. So how much, where do we go with that? Frankly, because it's consistent in its inconsistency, frankly. So maybe that's the consistency, I don't know, but I mean.
So no, I mean, the letters are within the range, the size.
No, I understand that, but
They're the type of letters.
You've got the DiNucci stuff, and then you've got these others that have different kinds of awnings and different kinds of signage,
Everybody else has signage.
it just, there was a marked lack of consistency. And how important should that be?
I would argue that you need to be flexible enough to allow different expression of one's business in these manners. So like the Poke Burrito is using different colors, right, to signify its signage there. That has to do with the way they market themselves. So then we don't necessarily want a blue letter as the second letter in every other sign in the store. It's just not their logo, right? So those are things that you need to consider in that. So I would say that flexibility of content is paramount in that way. Some folks are choosing to show or express their business in a different way, and that's fine. But really, I'd focus on the containers that you're talking about and how many there are, and not so much what's in them. And so that's what I would do. And then the types of lettering, sure, in terms of the types of lettering materials that were specified. I forget what those were referred to as, Carl, but you had indicated them earlier.
What was that, sir?
The types of materials of letters, if you will.
Pin
set.
That's right, pin set, thank you.
Oh, that's right, that was.
That's the type of, so these are pin set letters, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so
Well, do we-
that would be my guidance on that. That would be our guidance on that.
I have a question on the awning signs. There are no current tenants that currently have awning signage right now?
Currently, no, there are not in Renaissance Place.
Have there ever been?
That I do not know.
Historically, I don't know.
Historically, no.
No.
But there's no restriction in the PUD or anything for awning signs, was there?
Well, right, so in the 1998 sign package, there's no restriction that you can't have a sign on the awning. The restriction is that you get one identification sign per frontage, per pedestrian frontage. That's the
So
restriction.
that kind of eliminated the awning sign if you wanted on the building.
Right, and again, that's the sign package limitation for the property.
Yep, okay. Thank you.
Is the local leaf part of this building as well? Or is
Yes.
that a nearby? Okay, but they have awnings.
Yeah.
Yes, just
Do
no
we-
signage on the awnings.
Okay.
And,
Do we
oh, sorry.
need, do we need to make those awnings match? I mean, I don't know how picky we want to be here, but I do agree with Commissioner Henry that know, everybody's kind of got their own thing, and as long as we approve it, it's okay, but it's not super consistent.
It's clear, I mean, clearly the 1998 package it didn't set very strict guidelines here for us.
May I make one comment as well, Chair?
Oh, yes, please.
Sorry, and actually, this wasn't in the presentation, but it was in the staff report that was posted. So, yeah, the 1998 sign package is kind of the base sign package, but it's been subsequently amended, not the whole thing, but just space by space by space. So there are some, so as we tell you what it is, if you're thinking to yourself, well, wait a second, maybe that's that or that's that. Well, right, there are amendments for different spaces.
And these amendments date back to the year 2000. There's been several.
Right.
Like, for instance, Danucci's got that
Yeah.
small
Well,
projecting sign, if you recall, but does not have any signage on the awning.
So, I guess it's incumbent on us to decide
That's correct.
whether this works or doesn't work, and based on those criteria, still an open question. Yes, Commissioner Mantis.
Do we know of the other tenant, I'm just trying to drive through, of the other tenant spaces that, either have one or more facades, have this number of signs that are considered identification signs?
Well, I did note anecdotally along the west side, there were, not all, but there were several tenants that had a identification sign either on their window or above their door, but then also had a sign on, because that's like an arcade there along the west side, a canopy arcade, I don't know the technical architectural term, but then a few, not all of them, but several did have a second sign that was then on the front part, so to speak, above with higher visibility. Wasn't all of them, but I noticed there were one or two that may have, or three that may have had that.
Any other questions for staff? Would the petitioner like to speak?
Sure. Oh, good idea.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Corey Glass, and my wife Rachel and I own Twinkle Twinkle Little One. Thank you for taking the time to give us a few minutes to talk about our business and why we're trying to get an exception to what's going on. We've been in business for 18 years. We super serve really the north side of Chicago, and 7 years ago, we opened up at 461 Central at a small space that was about 1,700 or 1,800 square feet. And about 3 years ago, I left my job and we sort of evolved in our offerings. And what evolved was we started offering car seats and strollers and things of that nature, primarily in the city because we didn't have the space in Highland Park. And what we discovered was that there was such a need to educate first-time parents for the right type of products, to help them install these types of products, to really give them the kind of experience that first-time anxious parents get when they find out they're pregnant. And we've done a fantastic job of that in our city store because we have more room. And so that got us to where we're at today. We obviously leased 2 spaces at Renaissance Place because we needed the room. We needed the room to have more offerings of furniture and things of that nature, to have a one-stop shop for customers who are first-time parents. We also needed more room for educating our customers about how to use car seats, how to use strollers, how to install car seats, and those kinds of things that allow them to push things around that we just can't do today. And so we fell in love with Renaissance Place, but we also recognized that we needed to lease out 2 different spaces and build out one big giant space for the sake of both the experience for the customers, but also for to be able to offer the kind of selection that we need. And what our challenge has been is that we've leased 2 spaces. There's 2 separate entrances. The signage has only a certain amount, the name sign at the top. I'm not sure how to, if I can do that here.
Do you want me to move it to the next
Yeah,
slide?
that'd be great, thank you. We have an entrance here and an entrance over here, and then we have this blank space over here. And our concern was that that it's confusing, this blank and black over here with no logo, no sign, no nothing. How is it even indicate that it's our store? Right, and then this would be fine, but then we have this, again, blank space right here. How do we indicate that it's our store? So what we asked for, or what we're asking for is, the The signage up top, Twinkle Twinkle Little One, obviously we have to put it in the middle of two different stores. But we figured that having at least some sort of signage of some kind on the left and right side in some way, shape, or form will indicate who we are. So people who don't know who we are won't get confused, or will still know this is our business, and they'll have an easy way of getting in and getting out. Now, I recognize, these variances and, that we're asking for more. Obviously, I'm just a business owner. I don't look at Twinkle Twinkle Little One verbiage like that's signage to me. This is not my area of expertise. So I obviously am willing to certainly work with the chamber and make sure that it works best for everybody. And, from there, what we decided, because we were getting a little bit of feedback and a little bit of grief in terms of all the signs, and it seems like a lot when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11 signs. That does seem like a lot. And so we at least wanted to offer another solution for us to be able to not have confused customers by just having one name sign, and I'll show you the next variation of this, and then just one logo with one long awning all the way across, which I think looks a little bit more to what your point was, which is a little bit more hodgepodge, which I don't disagree with, but I'm also at the same time trying to connect two stores together into one. And so if you can go to the next one. And so whether this is okay or not, but our other alternative would be to have one long awning all the way across, one name sign, and one logo just to make it look uniform between, this entire length of, both store entrances, in addition to a name sign for the Twinkle Twinkle Little One and the words that's coming across. Whether we can put, I call it the lip, of the awning, whether we can put, information on there or not, I'm not here to sit here and push and try to, get you guys to do more than what's reasonable. I'm just trying to, as a business owner, make sure that our business is visible and that customers understand, our entrances and who we are, essentially. So that's the gist of it. Can I answer any questions for you guys?
Questions for the petitioner?
No, that was helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
So which one are we addressing?
So I can say it to you myself, and I feel comfortable with this. My wife and I are very comfortable with the less noisy sign, which I think is probably more presentable to you guys, as a chamber. But we're also very open to what we originally did. But I think this, as you mentioned, 11 or 12 different signs, this sort of cuts it down.
But this one, all right, so this would be on the north facade along the passageway.
You're correct.
But there would still be the other awning on the west-facing side, correct?
Correct. And I don't mind, again, I'm most concerned about this side with the multiple entrances and having it all sort of come together in one. I'm not as worried on the other side, other than to make it look uniform on both sides. I just want to make it look the same on both sides so it all looks, presentable. But yeah, so again, our challenge is not anything other than combining two stores into one, having a logo that's centered in the middle of two different stores and being able to indicate that this whole thing is ours.
So you want an entrance on both frontages, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want the flexibility depending on number of staff and employees. Maybe we may lock one door on certain days and have people go the other side. But we want to have the flexibility of having both doors open, particularly in the summertime when it's nice and warm weather.
But you don't need more than one on the north facade, would you really? I mean,
What's that? We don't need more than one entrance?
on that facade, why would you need more than two entrances for the?
I don't need more than two entrances, but that is how it is built. There is two entrances. This is just a rendering.
I was just gonna say, there appears to be four entrances.
Well, this is just a rendering on this one, so you can go, there's two. Yeah, you can go back to the other rendering. Yeah, that's how it is. So there's one right here and one right there. And then instead we would do one long awning all across. Still very large, but having the logo in the middle, I think sort of makes it all sort of come together as one. Otherwise it looks a little off, but that's my humble opinion.
Yes, Commissioner Mantis.
Can you flip back to the other rendering that I'm struggling with, I guess, contextualizing this, because it looks like there's maybe some depth to the facade on that side. So theoretically, that awning would be protruding much further out from the building at some points than others. Is that?
No, we're going to be going with the awnings that are already there. We're literally using the exact same structure for those awnings and the exact. So you can actually pull from the original the ones that had a little bit of snow on it, we're reusing those awnings. So it's gonna look exactly like that all the way across.
Got it. I'd be interested in seeing that from, I guess, a different angle, just so I could contextualize it a little bit better.
Sure. But that's it right there.
I'm talking about on the north side of the building.
Yeah, yeah.
Right here.
There's no door on that west side, correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good question.
Okay, more questions for the petitioner? Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none.
Can council ask can liaison ask a question? Not of petitioner, but of staff. Currently, I know each facing can have a sign, an identification sign. Do you consider an awning, in addition to the sign itself, to be a separate identifier? And I guess that's really.
Separate sign.
A separate sign.
Yeah.
And what is the limit of signs permitted per face as an identifier currently?
For the sign package, for the 1998 sign package, so we're not in Article 20 of the zoning code, we're in the specific sign package, they're allowed one identification sign per pedestrian frontage. Now, it doesn't say whether it has to be a wall or a window or an awning, but they're allowed one. Though again, I will state, if you look at other places on the site, in fact, I just pulled up my Google map, there are two others that have two, but again, have been there's been additional amendments for each, for separate tenant spaces from then on.
But to my
Go ahead,
point, it's one thing, they have the identifier and then they have, for example, the logo on the long awning. But when you add the name again on the lip of the awning, the valance, then you're adding another identifier. And I think that may go to your point, Commissioner Henry, about just an incongruity in the sense of so much. Perhaps the word ungapached might be one that would describe it to some extent, especially since no one else seems to have done this on the awnings. So it's one thing, I fully understand about the identification and one identifier, but I think when you're up to, is it 11 signs?
That's right, correct.
A lot of
I don't know
signage.
where you are, yeah.
How many does the revision have, the revised elevation?
The revised one would be, so it would still be the 1, 2, 3, it would still be the 4 that are on the west, and then this is 4. So it'd be 8 as opposed to 11. It'd be a reduction of 3.
And 8 of those would be identifying signs?
Yes, because, each one of these
The
is,
business identification.
Yeah, it's, well, and I'm gonna say this as well, I personally, if.
Can we have the applicant step up?
The twinkle twinkle little one on the lip of it.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry.
We need to record this.
I'm not against, if you guys are having an issue with the name, again, I'm just a business owner and I'm trying to comply as best as I can. In my own head, the twinkle twinkle little name on the lip of the signage, in my head, I don't consider that. So we can negotiate that out of there and I'm not gonna sit here and push and try to go to another hearing to get that taken care of. My biggest concern on this side here is getting it all to come together in the best way that's not gonna offend anybody. We're a baby store, we don't want to look too, we certainly don't want to look too, outrageous in any way, shape or form. And we want it to be as classy as possible. That is our goal. But again, we're trying to combine 2 spaces into one. And I guess having one long awning seems to be a little bit more palatable to the staff here or to you guys. And we're fine with that too. And if it means that you're counting these here, the family owned. And again, this is just me in competitiveness with Crate and Barrel and other places like that. The way that we differentiate ourselves is through service and experience that with those type of stores don't offer in the same way. So for someone walking by that doesn't come to the store, my purpose is to make you feel warm and home that we're a family-owned business that's been around since, for 19 years, and we'll hold your hand all along the way. Obviously, it's more subconscious, but that's why I have that there. If that means that you don't want that there, or that's not gonna comply, and you guys aren't gonna approve it, then we can take down that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm looking for, one long awning, one logo, one name. On the other side, on the Green Bay side, I'm not as worried about that. I just want it to look uniform just that it all looks similar to each other. Because if we have it like that on one side and then no logo, it just looks off if they circle around the corner without having the same kind of matching look. That's the only reason why I want the logo on this side too.
Well, Mr. Chair, I mean, it makes some sense to have a logo and a sign. I think we're really talking about a question of 11 or 12 signs versus 6 signs or something. You see what I'm saying?
And I think that the hardship that we're having is that there's very few properties in Highland Park that 2 storefronts have been combined into one. And so there's no real set rules for this. So I feel like we're taking a really big space, but we do still want to make sure that it does look and feel cohesive between and in the area and in Renaissance Place. So that is truly where we're having a harder time because we're on an uphill battle that hasn't really been done before.
And there's no one else at Renaissance Place that has taken 2 spaces and put them into one.
Okay, so I guess maybe we should just get a sense from the commission of what you think of the proposal overall, the variation of it.
I'll go first. I do like the one long awning along the north side. My confusion or concern is that on that Valance, we're saying twinkle, twinkle, little one over the 2 doors that presumably aren't going to be operating. You're trying to.
No, they'll be operating. Those doors will be, those are the only 2 entrances.
It's the middle one that doesn't.
The middle one doesn't operate, okay.
It doesn't exist.
It's more.
Because then it's driving you to walk in underneath the name of the sign. Okay. So I personally, I like that better.
And I understand that. And we actually talked about it, and after we did a few other mock-ups, once we got a little bit of pushback.
Yeah.
We did do a few other mock-ups, and, we came to this one, and we both said to each other, I equally like this as much, and I think it's equally as effective for making customers aware of who we are and where to go.
Right, and I think it looks a lot cleaner.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't think you need 3 logos along
No,
there.
we didn't really think about
We didn't
doing
think about
one
putting all of them
long,
together.
we're doing one
We didn't
long
think about it.
awning.
Yeah.
And then it sort of came from a few variations, and we looked at that and said, okay, that actually looks pretty nice, and sort of puts it all together into one.
Okay, and I don't think I have any comments on the west side one. So I think it's fine as it is.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I like this version much better. I think it's cleaner. And I understand also the reasoning behind wanting to have separate signage and wanting to drive more business there. And I think if you're going to put a business in there, we want it to be successful.
No, thank you.
And the more, don't want people to be confused and, it's, I'm fine with this version, definitely. The other one, I was a little bit skeptical on.
I understand.
Yeah, this is good.
She yelled at me.
I generally try to be easy to work with. I think that I'm struggling even with this version with the twinkle twinkle little ones on the bottom. I think there's 4 just on there when there should be 1. And then same thing on the west side, like there's 3 on that side. If you count the large, the logo, and the other one, I mean, I don't know. And just driving through Renaissance Place, like you mentioned, there's no other places. It looks like Zeeford Eye Care has 2 entrances, but only 1 sign up above. And so I feel like this is a lot. This is a big ask relative to the totality of the other businesses.
Well, I think there's a lot of wording, even though I thought I was okay with the what, there's a lot of wordiness there, because you've got the family owned, the year it was established, and you've got the name there twice. I don't know that you need it twice. And I think, doesn't the logo say family owned as well?
No.
No, okay.
I agree with Commissioner Mantis. I think that it looks really busy with anything on the lip. But especially on the north facade, I think the Twinkle Twinkle Little One over the entrances looks repetitive, and it's not that big of a facade. Like, surely people walking up to the building will be able to figure out where the entrance is without a sign over. So just from the clutter perspective, I like taking that off. But I also really appreciate what you said about being a small business that's trying to highlight that, you're family owned. And I wonder maybe if that might be like a middle ground of having that instead of the name of the store on the valance. So
Those are, feedback is a gift, and, I obviously am all ears in regards to those types of things, and we'd be happy to address those kinds of things. I don't think we're gonna fight you on that.
Yeah, I'll jump in. As like the former chair of the BDAG, I applaud and admire what you guys are doing here in Highland Park.
Thank you.
My concerns are less on you guys and more on just precedent that it sets for other businesses in the future and what amount of signage and number of signage. And I have a lot of hesitation just not like allowing this in and then knowing other places are gonna ask for additional signage or more and more, and that's my general concern, is just kind of letting the cat out of the bag, proverbially speaking.
So I guess I'm the only one who likes the 3 awnings on the north facade. I hate to cover up stone, because I think stone looks good. I think the problem on the north side is obviously there's too many logos, and there's too much repetitiveness. If I were designing it, I suppose, which I'm not a designer, but I would, the middle one's fine, and then maybe you just have, if you want the words, family owned and established X, those would be good on the ends. I don't think people will be confused, especially if it's just, you're funneling them all in that center entrance where the logo is. And then on the Green Bay side, I get that, that's where your traffic is, you probably want more signage on the Green Bay side. It is still a little busy, but that doesn't bother me as much.
But they said they're not using that middle door on the north side, they're using the 2 side doors.
Right. That middle door doesn't exist.
Yeah, there's only two entrances.
Well, then,
On that side, there's no entrance on the.
It's an optical illusion.
well, that's really too bad, because the middle door worked better.
Maybe they can add one.
These doors aren't gonna be
Anyway,
used?
No, they are. That's, that door and the one to the right.
So these doors and then these?
Correct.
Yeah, those will both be used.
Okay.
It's the other, okay, the one on the other side.
Commissioner Hitchett.
I have a question for Corporation Counsel around any guidance that we give to the applicant around the non-business name content of the signs. Like, are we out of turn by saying it'd be nice to highlight that you're a family-owned business with the valance content? Can we give that type of feedback, or should we only be talking about like the business name versus non-business content?
Sure. So I want to echo something that Director Fontaine had said earlier. The content of the sign is something that you cannot regulate. Certainly you can provide feedback, but as Director Fontaine noted earlier as well, you want to be careful about the dimensions of the lettering, because that's about the only thing that that stays. And should the applicant wish to change that lettering a day after it's been established, he can do that. And so it's a constitutional issue. It's a freedom of speech issue. And feedback is good, and certainly you are the plan and design, emphasis on design commission, but content strays away from design in that regard.
Thank you.
Great question.
So I would concentrate more really on the number of signage as opposed to what it would say.
And the awning itself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the design review, right? Just, do you want an awning? There is an awning out there, and now there's gonna be more, additional numbers to take on that new tenant space and make it all one. Makes sense as a theme to, you have an awning on some, maybe, but do you have to, I mean, that's the commission's purview in that way.
So I guess follow up for Corporation Counsel then. So if, for example, a rendering shows family owned, because that's what is shown, but the sign package says no more than one identification sign, they could just switch it and have another identification sign, or we're covered under the sign package that won't be there?
No, they can certainly switch it. So we are
The
working through
content
our.
of signs can't be regulated, so they
Got
could
it.
change what the content says, not the number of signs, not the location, not the dimensions.
Yeah, right.
The what's in it. So if a new business came, they can use that same footprint, if you will, or blueprint on there, and that logo could be someone else's logo.
So when we have a restriction on a identification sign, we can't technically have that restriction then?
No, not
get
with
the
the
one-
content,
they get
it's
the
just
one
the name of
sign.
the sign, that
It's
falls
the number
away.
of signs,
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the number of signs, it does technically fall away, yes, I understand what you're trying to say, but yeah, you can't.
I just want to
go-
understand.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's
They
the
get
number of
one.
signs and the size of the containers that you really should be focusing on in this decision, yeah.
I kind of like the revised rendering. I disagree with my colleague, Mr. Nanis, because I think the cat's out of the bag in this Renaissance place already, frankly. And actually, I think this lends a certain amount of uniformity to that area of Renaissance Place. Ray Geraci is rolling over in his grave right now, but who knew? Because that was his baby.
Yes.
But I actually like the revised design. I think the only thing I would say on the other side of it was I'd probably take out the Twinkle Twinkle Little one because I think it's redundant and just leave the family owned.
So the reason why I did that, by the way, was because I was under the impression that we can't put other things on there but our name. So I just wanted, that was the only reason why, like, I really would love to be able to put car seat installation, stroller setup, all those kinds of things that are marketing type of stuff that we're not doing.
All the things that young parents have no idea about,
Exactly,
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I personally agree with you. I think that the front sign should just have the main top, the logo, and then in the middle, just say family owned,
Which is fine.
established 2007.
You know, I don't do domestic relations work, so I'm staying out of that.
He'll agree in front of you guys.
Oh, yeah, big fight when we get done. At the end of the day, we want to open the business up. In the next 6 to 8 weeks. So what we need to do is
We need to
obviously.
figure it out.
Yeah, we just need to figure out what is best that's going to make it work all together as one cohesive place. And I'm willing, obviously I'm willing to work with you guys. Just let us know what you agree upon based on what we have here.
So, Chair,
Yes.
what do we need to do?
So our decision is, we have a draft, again, of the certificate of approval. If people want to act on that, if we want revisions, and I think that because this version is not part of the current certificate, so they will have to come back in 2 weeks anyway, if this is what the commission wishes, and I think that's true. That's the true sentiment here at the moment. I think we could do with it, with one less sign on the Green Bay side. That seems to be the consensus. So I guess my feeling is to give you that direction and ask you to come back in 2 weeks if that's acceptable and doesn't ruin your timeline for opening, because I think we all here want to see businesses succeed here, and especially filling blank spaces in our downtown.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Director Fontaine.
Thank you. So what you're saying in terms of the Green Bay Road side, you're saying the Valence would only have one sign centered there'd be a logo and then a wall sign, correct?
I believe that's,
Is that the sentiment? I just want, just point of clarification, yeah.
Seems to me that's the sentiment.
What was that I was taking? I was trying to take notes.
One on the valance, centered, the logo and the wall.
So three.
Yes. Green Bay is-
What's our next
Three and
date?
But that's why.
next date would be February 17th,
That is correct.
Tuesday.
I'd like to make a motion, Chair.
Yes.
That business, application DES 2026-00086 be continued to the next regularly scheduled Plan and Design Commission meeting, which was February 17th.
That's right.
At 7 o'clock in this location, and notice is deemed,
Since this is not a public hearing.
Notice is actual.
We do not need notice. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
All right, moved by Commissioner Henry, seconded by Commissioner Fitterman. Any discussion on that motion? Then all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll see you in 2
Thank you very
weeks.
much.
Oh, yeah, I'll talk to my guys. I'll have them do the
Yep,
mock-ups.
thank you very much.
thank you.
I've had somebody come up to me about that yesterday. Saying,
Okay.
they're leaving. Highland Park.
In
I
other
can't wait
business
to
this
tell them. I
evening,
didn't-
we're looking for any administrative design review update.
No, there are not, Chair.
And the next meeting, February 17th, we have one item agenda. We just moved there. Anything else?
Yes, continued from the first meeting in January, the PUD and the subdivision for 147 Central.
Oh, yes.
The property
Yes.
that's historically landmarked with a home on it.
So, Mr. Chair, just update on that. So the Historic Preservation Commission will be providing a recommendation on that matter that we will get to you, but they are meeting on the 12th.
That's right, the 12th is correct.
So, yeah,
That's right.
okay. And that they'll be taking that up again on the 12th. And so we will not have the minutes for that meeting, but we will certainly have their recommendation. As you could expect, by the 17th, we wouldn't necessarily have minutes for that meeting of the HPC, so just know that. But we'll provide you the minutes from the January 8th meeting that they did talk about this. So.
Excellent. Okay. Any case briefings?
None, Mr. Chairman.
In that case, is there any business from the public which has not been addressed this evening? Seeing no public, thus no business. I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, yeah. Moved by Commissioner Henry and seconded by Commissioner Moore. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, see you all in 2 weeks.
God, you guys.